So this week we're gonna do another plant species. Um, I was gonna do another fish species, but I have this plant today, so I thought you might as well just make this video, and then maybe we'll make another video this week and do a fish one. So if you have any fish recommendations, definitely put those in the comments. You'll get your fish talked about, or at least we'll talk about that fish, and you'll get kind of a mini shout out. So might as well do it. And if you've already done it before, you can recommend a fish again. It does not matter. I can give you 10 shout outs if you want. If you comment every week, then you'll just get a shout out. So if nobody does it, then I'll just pick my own fish, but obviously it's more fun when I get recommendations and I kind of get to learn with you guys, so it's more fun that way. But we'll do videos no matter what though. So today we're going to talk about a plant that that's probably gonna become my favorite carpeting plant, and that's Monte Carlo. Now, Monte Carlo, it's from Argentina. Um, Mainly seems in probably streams and rivers, and it's a real compact, real tiny plant, but it creates really nice carpets. Um, I have I have a carpet kind of getting. It hasn't fully carpeted yet, obviously, but I it's been in here for about I'd have to check, but maybe 3-4 weeks. I would say about 3 weeks. This Monte Carlo's been in this tank, and they're just now starting to root and really throw out runners. And maybe in a month we'll probably have a nice little carpet going, or at least having of somewhat of a carpet. So this plant you can buy it multiple different ways. You can get it as potted, or the most popular, in which I would recommend, is tissue cultured. It comes really nice and tissue cultured. If you know what that is, it's these little plastic containers, and it's actually kind of like kind of genetically copying something, and they actually do that and actually grow the plant in the pot instead of maybe in an aquarium where there could be pests and snails and all that I can get. So if you bought it potted, you have the risk of putting in your aquarium and getting all these pests that you don't want, now that or algae that they had, and now you have to deal with it in your tank. So there's all types of risks to not. But if you can get tissue culture, definitely get that. It's way less of a headache to do that. I am holding the camera, so it might be a little shaky, so if that's bothering you, then my bad. Kind of had to get up to, I don't really have a stand yet, so trying to show this tank. Kind of just have to hold it freely. So this plant, when you get it as tissue cultured, or really anything, you want to cut it into sections. You don't normal plants you might just plant it like a stem plant, but these you want to cut it into portions. And if you get tissue cultured, I would say about 8 to 12 portions. I would say probably about 10. If you cut it even more, sometimes the portions be a little too small, but depending on how big your tank is, you can divide it as many portions as you like. It'd just probably be a little bit easier if the portions are a little bigger. So when it comes, well, I guess we could talk about this plant. It doesn't get very tall, but obviously if you let it just grow out, it will get probably 3-4 inches. Probably not even that, probably just a couple. But what it's mostly going to do is send out runners, which that's what will cause it to eventually carpet out fully. And that's basically really all it does. Just like your basic any other carpet plant, like door hair grass, they all do the same. They all send out runners, and they basically start slowly spreading out, and they'll all combine together and make this nice carpet right here. Now, when it comes to planting these plants, I do have a video, so I might put that in the link in the description. If it's not, just go to my channel, and it's one of my recents on how to plant Monte Carlo, or go to my playlist, and there's a how-to series, and push on that, and you'll go down the list, and you'll see a how-to plant Monte Carlo. Really nice video. I show you guys how to plant that. But what you want to do is, like I said, cut it into portions, and it's going to be really difficult to plant at first until it gets roots. It's really difficult. So if we get down here, and don't be afraid when you get these to shove it down in the dirt really far, because you're gonna have to do that if you want to get this plant really buried and not pop out, which it popped out multiple times for me. So you want to really bury it in the dirt. Even if you cover half the plant, it does not matter. You can eventually, wipe off all the soil on top of it over time, or it'll just come up and grow out of the soil over time. So don't worry about just totally burying it. That's totally fine. And if you really have to, sometimes you put little pebbles on top of them to keep them, at least down on the surface so they don't float up. But the carpet plants, especially Monte Carlo, dwarf hairgrass, Cuba, any of those, they're really difficult to, plant at first. But once they get rooted, they're perfectly fine. But when the first couple weeks, I would be careful when gravel vacuuming because they do tend to get sucked up by the suction and they'll end up popping up. And it's just a headache, especially when you have ADA and it's all like all the dust is just flying around trying to replant it, so it's just a big headache. It's in a plant like this, it kind of gets irritated when you just pull it out and mess with it, so planting it and leave it alone is the best thing I could say if you want to have the most success with this plant. Now, this plant, it does need a little bit of higher light. It's not something you can just grow in highlight. It does like shadow areas, but you're going to want something really nice light. This is a Finex SE, Planet Plus 24/7 SE. So with this not being a very tall tank, this light is perfect for this tank. So it gets plenty of light. I do dose liquid CO2. I don't dose real CO2 yet. That'll come over time. But real CO2 will definitely help you creating a way faster carpet. I would say your carpet would fully grow in maybe a month, month and a half if you have real CO2. If you don't like me, probably a good 2-3 months and you'll have a carpet going. Either way, you're gonna have a carpet, but CO2 does enhance the colors and the speed of growth of any plant. And definitely for a carpet plant, you want it to grow you want carpet plants to grow pretty fast because you want that really nice carpet that you're looking for. But if you don't have CO2, you're just gonna have to wait it out. For me, I don't mind as long as it's I know it's growing and it's doing well. So as you can see kind of the yellowish. That's kind of the old plant, or at least the plant that was there originally. And you can see all this new, really green growth under it, where you can see coming out. These are all the runners. And this is a perfect one right here. See these ones that are coming out? Those are actually the runners coming out. And it's starting this new little bush over here. Same as these. See all these little runners coming out? So that's what it starts doing, and eventually you get this really nice carpet once it all just kind of combines together. But at first it's gonna be just a bunch of patches, which is perfectly fine. So yeah, I mean, this plant is, I'd really recommend it if you want to be like me and wanted to, you've had plant tanks, but you want to get a little bit higher tech, and you see all these professional aquascapers have these really nice carpets, and what you usually see is Monte Carlo, dwarf hairgrass, or Cuba. It's usually one of those three, and you see them and you think, wow, you want to really do that one day, and you try this plant, and you want to be like me, and you just, see what you can do with it. I would definitely recommend it. Out of all the carpet plants that you see, Monte Carlo is definitely the easiest one, I would think, out of all of them. Dwarf hairgrass needs a lot of light and definitely needs CO2, so I wouldn't recommend that if you don't have any of that stuff available. The other carpeting plant I would say is probably 4-leaf clover, dwarf hairgrass, or glasso. Those are the other ones that are pretty easy, but you do want CO2 obviously if you want the best growth. But I would say out of all the carpeting plants, Monte Carlo is definitely the easiest, or at least the nicest looking one. 4-leaf clover and glasso, they're not the prettiest. I mean, I wouldn't say that because a lot of people like it too, but to me, they're not the most prettiest carpety plants. This one looks really good if you do it right, and it's surprisingly not that hard. If you at least give it some nutrients, fertilizers, I forgot to say that, and at least some type of CO2 if it's liquid. I use Excel. I got 2 big things of it right here. So, and this Excel really helped. I mean, I was so surprised, because I knew I wasn't getting CO2 for a while, so this Excel really helped. And once I started dosing the Excel, the runners started coming out, and the plant got greener. So definitely recommend if you're doing a planting, actually get Excel. If you don't have CO2, it's really good. And obviously have a good fertilizer. I dose Crown Co-op's Easy Green. Would recommend this, or you can go to H2O Plants. He has a really good one. Pretty much the same though, but you can choose whichever one you want. I'd recommend this one though. It's really easy. And ADA makes a lot of fertilizers. They're going to be more on the expensive side, but they have really nice fertilizers. Glass Aqua has, or UNES has a lot of stuff. So any of those fertilizers really help. If you don't have a nutrient, you want to have a nutrient soil too. I have ADA in this tank with power sitting under it, so I have a lot of nutrients, at least in my part of the substrate. So I would recommend a nutrient substrate, Eco Complete, ADA, fluorite. Any of those are really good ones. I would say 88 and fluorite are probably, my choice out of those two. Or you can do the fluostratum. That's a really good one too. That's the closest one to 88 for sure. But any of those three are probably the best ones in my opinion. If you want a really nutrient substrate. If you don't have any of those, I would get some root tabs, put them under there, just so you have some nutrients in the substrate. But obviously, broken down food and decaying food will give your plant some nutrients, but it's not going to give you, or it's really not going to be that effective than fertilizers. But yeah, I guess we'll end it right there, so it's not too boring and long. But that's Monte Carlo. I guess actually, hold up. Just to give you an example, if this is a fully carpeted Monte Carlo throughout the whole entire tank, you can see how nicely green this is. This is a really high-tech tank, but I wanted to show this example of what it could look like if you did it really good. But definitely, if you guys are new here, subscribe. Definitely watch this carpet grow over time and see how it turns out in maybe a couple months. But other than that, oh wait, a quarantine tank. I wonder what that is.